Hello, hello, Paladins fans. Welcome to our Dev Insight here. My name is Hyres Martini, or Garrett. I'm the lead designer of Paladins. With me today is Hyres Juju,
How you
or
doing?
Matt.
Matt's fine.
We've got this kind of impromptu Dev Insight here today for you, just to kind of go over some of these changes coming in the next patch, and also kind of just giving some insight on kind of the design direction and reasoning around the changes. Sometimes when patch notes go down, we don't get a lot of time to explain some things. We're very on a tight schedule, showing you all this content. So we kind of wanted to take this time to just in-depth give reasoning and preview some of the cool stuff that's coming down the road.
Sure, absolutely, man. And I think it's important that we are able to do these and take the time to kind of get into that nitty gritty, those details that we might not be able to elaborate on as much during a patch show and whatnot.
Yeah. Yes. We have a big game with a lot of people that care very deeply. So taking the time out of our day to kind of explain things and highlight things is super important.
And so, I mean, like, we're going to talk about a few things today. I think our list of topics as we go through it is we want to talk about the shooting changes that we've seen, which is the projectiles, right?
Sure.
So
OB 53, a lot of changes were made there, definitely.
Yeah, for like EV and all them, like the fact that we kind of clean that up. And then the economy is another thing we want to talk about.
Yes.
Something that has been a big topic. It's something we've really been working at. I know the team's been putting a lot of time into this.
Absolutely, yes.
And finally, we got some cool legendary balance stuff coming up, and I think that people are going to be excited about this. I know I am. Me as someone who played Paladins a lot before joining the team, and then to come on and kind of like see behind the curtain and everything.
A lot of characters are going to get a lot of fresh experiences, we'll say.
Yes. So the shooting messaging, the when we talked about it before.
That's correct. So we semi-miscommunicated in our last patch notes, and I need to be very clear right now is that all of our changes in regards to projectile speed or weapon feel, how we treat recoil and things like that, this is done with a general broad experience in mind for all of our audiences. It isn't platform specific. This is, we make these improvements to these weapons, whether you're a support or a frontline or a damage character, whether we increase your projectile speed, change the way your recoil functions. We do this all with trying to make your shooting experience more impactful, more fun, more rewarding, and not to give any benefits to any specific platforms. So the changes in mind were all intentionally done to just give it more visceral, more powerful shooting experience. A lot of them were projectile speed. Some of our character, such as Pip, such as Grover, such as Evie, all had their pre-existing projectile speed, and we felt they could use a little bit more oomph. Anytime you load into one of our characters, whether you're support, damage, flank, or frontline, we want you to come in and have an enjoyable experience, even if all you do is hold left mouse button. Like, at our core, we're a shooter, and we truly feel that it should be fun, it should be rewarding. And initially, by design, some of these characters in hands were potentially structured to maybe be slightly harder to hit, maybe be less impactful. But ultimately, we feel that as a benefit for the game, it needs to feel good. Like, it needs to feel like just this tactile. As soon as I click this button, then this discrete result and powerful result manifests on my screen.
Yeah, it's one of those things, it could be kind of tough to describe, but everybody knows like a good gunplay when good gunplay when they feel it. Like when you're shooting that gun and it's emotional almost. It ticks seriously, like it ticks all those boxes.
For us, it is definitely.
Yeah, it's just like, man, this is cool, and I think that's like something that these changes are really pursuing.
Yes, the emotional point is actually a great point. I can't tell you how many like big giant kid-like smiles have gone over my face as I've been like leaning over my animator's chair as we like work on, if it's like Victor's or someone's animation, and it's just like we're like maybe not that. Okay, maybe pull it more to the right. Okay, maybe get that. We'll try vertical versus horizontal side to side, and then you get it, and you're like, yes, the shooting experience. It feels good. It feels powerful. As you're in the combat doing this thing, like it just manifests into this exponentially great experience. that's part of why our game is successful as it is. So.
And for me, it's exciting just watching you get excited when you talk about some of these changes and some of these things.
I'm here
that
to
are
entertain
up,
you, man. I'm here to entertain.
And
that's what I do.
Exactly. Yep. So I mean, I think that's and again, this isn't the be all and end all. This is just a step in one of many steps as we continue to polish and just put on that
yes.
layer of shine and just clean up everything really.
Yes, we can always be better.
Yes. And so economy.
That's correct. So,
yeah.
As for those of you guys who have been with us for a long time, and many of you have, we have a lot of return users, a lot of classical users. We have progressed through different systems in order to kind of distribute cards or unlock chests, progress my character. Yeah. Doing what we've done is no easy task. There is a lot that goes into balancing economies. I mean, the real world still is working on that one. So, the realm, I think we're actually a little farther ahead. But specifically, there is a general consensus that currently progressing my champion via cards is a little bit too difficult. And we tend to agree. But one thing when monitoring and adjusting economies is that you don't want to make any knee-jerk reactions.
Sure.
So there's a lot of data to consult. We have millions of players all earning at various rates and unlocking things. So it's really important, and we appreciate your guys' patience. But we do believe and have some steps outlined that we'll touch on later that we want you guys to progress and get these card unlocks for your champions a lot quicker. And we have some actionable items for you that will do that. And we're kind of hitting it on all fronts.
Sure.
Essence is a part of it. Also, account progression is also a part of it. These things are all these broad-ranging systems are interconnected. So it is a big task, but I think we got some good changes for you guys.
I really do. I mean, me being community facing, I collect a lot of feedback and everything, and you have all your data that you collect, and you're listening to the community just as much. You're on there. I see you all the time.
Yes,
and
we're on Reddit all the time.
Yeah, everyone in the studio.
We're on our forums all the time. We're on Twitter all the time.
Yep. And so, did you want to dig into some of these things we have here?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Specific details are always super good. Actually, I think I have a better list because,
Aren't you fancy?
I was prepared. Okay, so in OB54, which we will be doing the actual patch notes Friday, tomorrow, 3 p.m. EST. Check it out. Shameless plug. But in OB54, we are going to do the following steps. So, card crafting. We are going to reduce the essence cost of legendaries from 12,000 to 10,000 essence, epics from 5,000 to 4,000 essence, uncommon cards from 1,250 to 1,000, and common cards from 500 to 350. So right off the bat, these are 15 to 20% discounts, big discounts. You are going to be no longer have obviously the same massive amount of essence required to do that on top of the further changes we're going to go through. And also to note, what we are not going to do is also reduce the duplicate values from these. Those are staying the same. So we are decreasing the cost of these, keeping the duplicate values the same, ultimately speeding up the process which you will be kind of progressing through your card unlocks.
Sure.
In addition to all the goodies I haven't gone over yet.
Yeah, so I think it's important too that all of this be taken as one whole. It's like you said, it's all pieces of one larger puzzle.
It is a big puzzle. But I think we're about to put in the final pieces. So.
I agree.
Boom. Metaphor. All right. The daily login bonuses. We'll be swapping out some of the gold rewards for essence. On day 4. You will now no longer receive 350 gold. You'll get 250 essence. On day 5, you will no longer receive 500 gold. You'll receive 500 essence. And then on day 6, we are swapping the 15 crystals for 1,000 essence. So this is a big chunk of essence just for logging in, showing up, saying what's up. Ultimately, it's like 1,750 essence just from kind of coming in, checking out what's going on in Paladins. On top of the price reduction. In addition, weekly quests. So weekly quests have historically been all gold. We've done a couple non-weekly quests that involve around unlocking items and stuff like that, but those are generally more promotional. What we're doing is we are going to increase the gold value of your weekly quest by 60%. Actually, I think it's 67 something.
67.
Someone
yes.
in Twitter will tell me later how my math is wrong. But the gold values are going from all of your weekly quests are going from 750 to 1250 gold. And then also we are swapping some of the gold to essence rewards.
Correct.
We're giving 1,000 essence for some of our daily, or excuse me, I keep saying daily, weekly quests.
Yes.
Should you roll them? So again, adding to this influx of essence, adding to this to your gold income, piling on these resources essentially. Specifically, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. So four quests are remaining as strictly gold quests only, and then those are the ones that are going from 750 to 1250. So big increase there. And then the remaining ones, which you'll have details on tomorrow, patch notes, etc., will be going to the 1,000 essence weekly quests as well. And then also as a side note, we are increasing the amount played required to unlock these from like before, if they were like 3 or 4, maybe they're going to like 5 or 7, 5 or 8. However, over the week time span, it's definitely logical, and we are increasing the reward. So a little more engagement, I think, what wouldn't hurt anyone.
And that's the big thing, you know. It's this shift to make sure that players are getting these cards, getting these legendaries and everything up front, so that you know that's not where the grind is.
Correct. It's a pretty big change, and then also one of the actually biggest changes is we are going to truncate the experience required to level up your account from levels 1 to 50, where it's still going to plateau at level 50. However, we are reducing, and it's not a direct linear thing. We are reducing the experience required to get all those previous levels from 1 to 50 from anywhere from 30 to 60% a level. So what this means for you guys is that you will be progressing much faster, aka earning rewards much faster. So a lot more radiant chests, and on top of the fact that you're now getting all of this more radiant chests from leveling, plus you're having a lot more currency from the quests, plus the costs are less. Again, this is kind of exponentially going off of each other into just a generally much more attainable system.
One system just amplifies the next, and
exactly.
Yes.
And then also as a side note, we are also increasing the cosmetic drop rates in radiant chests. I believe the
33%.
Yeah, you should have about 33% more chance of getting cosmetic items. So those hard to get ones, that red Ceres or the pink Torvald, hopefully you'll have a better chance of taking them home now. So we've talked about the essence changes. We've talked about the card crafting changes. How we're giving a lot more essence here. We've truncated your experience down so that you will be chugging through these early levels much faster, earning those rewards, leveling up. Now, the counterpoint to this, or I guess the flip side, all economies are balanced a little bit, give and take, is that currently we felt that the effort it took to unlock the cards was an excessive amount, which I think everyone will agree on. And then currently also problems we're faced with is that champions are a little too accessible. We are shifting a little bit of the time spectrum here. So we're going to be changing the gold prices on champions and our gold or soft currency cosmetics, so common and uncommons. We're going to be increasing their gold prices. As an example would be the 7.5k gold champions will now be 12.5k, which is effectively the cost of 2 radiant chests. And then your 5k gold champions will be 7.5k, and then your 4k gold champs currently will be 5k gold.
But when you get them, you'll be getting that gear quickly. You know, you'll be getting those legendaries. You know, and it was something that you and I were talking a little bit before, and you were talking about how, you know, it just feels better to work your way towards that new champion, get them, try them, and be like, okay, this is the champion I've been working for. I'm excited to play him. Versus feeling like you're playing just to, I want to get this card because my friend has this card. I want to get this card so I can make this loadout. It changes that feeling of what you're working towards.
Absolutely. And relative to the other Essence economy changes, the impact of the champion and cosmetic increases is actually pretty minimalistic. We'll be giving out far more Radiant chests and have, relative to those changes, have increased the champion price by not that much.
Sure,
actually.
because that increase isn't exponential. I mean, that's a flat increase, whereas everything else multiplies off itself. And so, as people play and as they get those games under their belts, be getting more and more.
Yes. And so I gave the specific examples for the champion cost. The gold and crystal cosmetics will be increased. The gold cost on the cosmetics will be about 50%, which is going to essentially make them, the cosmetics were a little less special. Some of the perceived value was a little bit down just because it was so attainable. So now they're going to be a little bit exclusive, and you guys have all benefited from the cheaper prices now. So going forward, they're going to be a little bit harder to get with soft currency. Conversely, what I haven't mentioned is we'll also be dropping the crystal price of all of our uncommon and common cosmetics by a substantial percent. I believe roughly it was not 25%, but 25 crystals, which, depending on the set or weapon, is a percentage point of around like 30 to 40 and even 50% for some of those 50 crystal cosmetics. So definitely spreading out that disparity. The crystal price is now extremely low, and then also the gold price will be about 50% higher. But ultimately, you will be earning cards at a much quicker rate. You'll be unlocking these champions, progressing through them, and we feel that this is a really good direction.
Well, it's a tick and a talk, I mean, the crystal prices came down here, The champion gold went up. Like, it's give and take, and I think in the long run, because of these systems that multiply off each other, and because, I mean, really, before, the ways to get essence were limited, and that was something that, I think it's good that we were able to dive into and address here.
Yep. And just to reiterate, because we've touched on a lot of facets and items here, just because economies are pretty complex. So we are increasing the gold cost of champions and soft currency cosmetics, and then here are the list of essence modifications. So card crafting again is going down from legendaries 12,000 to 10,000, epics 5,000 to 4,000. Uncommon from 1,250 to 1,000, commons from 500 to 350. So again, reducing all the costs. The duplicate values are still staying the same, so you're netting far more essence in the system. Daily login bonuses will now, whereas before they gave out no essence, we swap some of the gold to essence rewards to get through days 4, 5, and 6. You'll now accumulate the 1,750 essence, should you guys show in and say what's up to the Paladin's world. The weekly crest rewards we're increasing the gold by 67% for the ones that give gold from 750 to 1,250. There are 4 of those, and then the essence quests, we have swapped some of the rewards from gold only to be essence rewards as well at 1,000 essence apiece there. So a much bigger influx of essence, a bigger influx of gold there, increasing the amount of resources you're going to have in your pools. Champion price changes, like I mentioned, are going up, and then the uncommon ones are going up. And then also the more cosmetics are going to be coming in those Radiant chests. So you should be able to kind of pursue the cool looks right there for you.
For sure.
I think
there was one thing that I think that we didn't touch on here, and that was for leveling up all these people. How's that going to work?
Oh, you're absolutely correct. So again, and that's what I missed here, is we are truncating that experience. It will be easier to level. You'll be getting more Radiant chests. What this means for you guys, though, for all you're like, well, I'm already past those levels. How does this affect me? What's going to happen is that all of our players, whether you're level 40 or you're level 8, you're going to see an increase in your actual account level, and then you are going to be given those chests for those levels that you've been granted.
Or whatever the reward is.
Yeah. Well, specifically for these, it is Radiant chests.
For these ones, yeah.
Yeah. The when you log in, if I think, what was the metric? I believe if you're above level 40, you should roughly have about 8 more levels,
Sure.
I think.
Because your experience stays the same. Because we're truncating it, it kind of,
yeah,
comes
the
down.
thresholds at which you leveled up are changing. Your total experience is not. So everyone got a nice level boost and a decent amount of chests as kind of the system change for it. So yeah, look forward to that. Now, the next part of kind of our talk here is to touch on the legendary portions.
Because I mean, this is something that we'll talk more specifics, I think, tomorrow.
Yes.
On the patch show. What time is that again?
It could be 3 p.m. EST. No, it's 4 p.m.
It's 4 p.m.
It's 4 p.m.
Yeah, it's 4 p.m.
Today is 3 p.m.
Yep.
This
Today's
broadcast.
3. Yep.
We had to
it's EDT,
different.
still that Eastern Daylight Time.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, we'll talk more specifics then. But as far as like the overall kind of like motives behind it and what kind of decision making has gone into it, we got pretty big shakeup coming, right?
Decent big shakeup, yeah. So the general premise is that currently we have a lot of legendaries that are picked very often. We also have a good amount of legendaries that aren't. We have some sub-picked legendaries that...
It's interesting to me too. Stu, he tweeted out some statistics on the legendaries.
Yes, he did.
And it was interesting to see how some of these legendaries that weren't picked as much, that, kind of had these like perceptions like, oh, maybe this one's not as good, turned out to statistically be great legendaries.
Sure. I could talk for hours on perception versus reality. It's a really big thing in design. But yes, it is fascinating. But we do have this data, and we've been researching a lot. So we're going to make a pretty broad sweep on some actionable items for legendaries across many of our characters, with a couple core concepts in mind. So the first concept being that, yes, we want the legendaries to represent sometimes even difficult choices over, oh man, this one's really good, this one's also really good, but which one suits my character, my play style the best, or maybe the situation that I'm in? What am I trying to counter? Who am I trying to take advantage of? That we all want that to factor in, and in some cases it currently isn't. It might just be, oh, well, I'm this character, so I'm taking that one. Obviously, that's not the greatest in a healthy design system. So getting a broader selection of legendaries, getting more powerful options on characters, legendaries that maybe weren't as powerful as some of the other options.
And that's the key word too. You said options. To give people options.
100%. Yep. And then the other fundamental kind of concept for the game is that right now some legendaries lean really heavy on mobility aspects. Ultimately, we think that a lot of this excessive mobility is going to be, in the long run, be actually a net negative for the game. We've done a lot of player feedback and kind of player research in regards to the experience, how it interacts with each of our characters, how our characters' abilities, not only how do they feel playing as these characters, which, sure, high mobility feels great when you're that character, but also playing against it.
And it's not a balance thing. It's it can be balanced, but still be unfun to play against.
But it could be statistically balanced, but extremely frustrating, and make people kind of see your title in a slightly different light.
Sure.
So we have the direction of trying to do what's best for the title, and we are going to be reworking a lot of the movement-based legendaries. To be a better option amongst the other two picks currently, because generally, as I mentioned, mobility in a shooter is extremely strong, and some of these come on characters that do have a lot already, and it just amplifies it, exacerbates it, it makes it exponentially more difficult. And we do value the experience of our players playing against these characters, the same as the players playing the characters.
Well, it's the same reason that the shooting's being looked at. It's all in pursuit of this fun, this feeling of making 100%. Sure that when you're playing the game, win or lose, you're having a good time.
Yes, and ultimately, this is going to be making your game less frustrating, more fun, better options, better decisions, more interesting decisions, versus picking this character with this legendary because they get to move a lot faster with it.
And as a designer, would you say that by kind of reining in on some of this mobility and stuff, it frees you up for more different map design in the future, different champion design? Is it restricting as it is now?
I wouldn't even say it's restricting. I will
Sure.
say it. I will say it influences by far. Meant like my old school players know, our maps, for instance, used to be a lot bigger.
Yeah, they're huge.
So maybe a certain character's movement ability being large in magnitude mattered less then,
Sure.
because there was more time to see these people coming. Where now, as on certain maps, maybe we have a smaller structure or smaller distances, and then it just amplifies the frustration factor when this character that was supposed to be traversing these big wide open areas is now traversing the same amount, but it's not a big wide open area. So it's very frantic, it's very frustrating to not know where you're being shot from, to have characters flying around, and it also actually. We for a shooter we do have a longer TTK, which actually.
Do you want to explain what that means?
Yeah,
for
time to
people who might
TTK
not?
is time to kill. In our game, it varies per character because we are class based. So your supports and your front lines will probably kill slightly less than your flanks and your damages in combination of in hand plus abilities. But as far as in the history of games where I have a gun and I'm trying to defeat the other guy with a gun, the amount of times you have to shoot someone in Paladins is less than the amount of times you have to shoot someone in a lot of other mainstream titles.
Sure. It's not so much map awareness.
Or excuse me, it's more. It's more,
Yeah,
not less.
correct. So it's not so much map awareness as it's your tactics, your mechanical skill as far as flicking those shots and stuff and keeping them trained on that target.
Exactly. The relationship you're hinting at is that while certain instances of high mobility exist, it actually makes the frustration factor a lot more when coupled with our lower TTK. Meaning I'm going to have to be tracking, or excuse me, our higher TTK. I keep messing it up. You're going to be tracking some very mobile targets for a lot longer, which again, it's like that's kind of, it's like sure, if it was like a more FPS military style shooter, whereas 1 to 2, 3 bullets and someone's dead, then the character that blinks 100 feet away into existence, pops you 2 times, and then you counter and boom, boom, take him down. You're like, okay, that's fair. But when I have to hit them, or maybe I'm playing a support or a frontline character, that I have to hit them for like upwards of 1 second.
Yeah.
Or I have to be consistently hitting them for 1 second, or 2 seconds, or even 3 seconds, depending on my abilities and their defensives, then that exacerbates the issue.
And to keep in mind too, I mean, this isn't just like chop, chop, chop. We're taking that away. It's a balance. It's looking at the whole picture, all the characters, the way that they interact with each other, the way that their kit is, and what makes sense for that character, and what maintains that character's spirit, so to speak.
Exactly. We have a lot of loved characters. We know this, and that's why we are addressing this via legendaries. The changes for the legendaries, like I said, we're going to be reining in some of the hypermobility ones and buffing up some of the lesser picked ones to get more of a healthy choice in decision making process for you guys.
Absolutely.
I think
that was the main things that I think we wanted to talk about here.
Cool.
And then we do want to open it up here for questions. If you've seen me, I've been watching you guys hanging out in chat here. And so, you guys just, start dumping those questions, and I will, as we go through here, start kind of
we can talk about talk about balance. We can talk about design. This is kind of just an opportunity to sit down with you guys. I know it's a little less informal, so more formal on our patch notes. Again, it's a little bit more higher production value. We're on the big desk. We got all the personalities coming in and slinging out all this new information and throwing new content at you. This is kind of just an impromptu thing to kind of address you guys one-on-one or two on many, I guess. So if you've got any questions for us, pop them in chat, and we'll see if we can snag one and answer it.
Sure. So, looking through here, these are going to kind of start coming through. So plans for matchmaking improvements. I mean, that's something that has been on the schedule, right? As far as like the competitive and everything, and we talk about that.
Definitely. So generally, matchmaking is a very complex issue. This kind of seeds its way actually into ranked. And again, I know we've many times have said, yes, we're working on ranked. And no one likes being told, hey, it's going to happen sometime in the future. I can preview some of some of the features actually with ranked. What we're going to be doing is actually right now ranked, you kind of show up. You're a competitive player, you're motivated, you want to kind of get those borders for your individual champions, but there aren't many structured systems in place to give you kind of concrete actual rewards. So with Rank 2.0, what we'll be doing is doing a very broad scale sweep and trying to make a much more powerful, encompassing system that is just like
something to work towards.
Something to work towards, but also extremely healthy in terms of a competitive sense. It will definitely attract a lot of players, which will definitely help with the amount of people coming in, the ease of getting more people in queues, faster queues, better matches, and also we'll be progressing people through. And I guess I can spoil this. So what we'll be doing is, if you're familiar with a lot of many other large multiplayer games, or even our own game Smite, is kind of a division-based system. So we have kind of a division-based system. It is character-based, but we'll be moving to an account-based. And what this means is that you will come in, do a series of matches, and place into where a division that you will then kind of earn up from, and then progress through these divisions, earn rewards as you progress, and then kind of work towards. And we also be doing like end of season rewards, so winning a certain amount of games, hitting certain ranks, getting into certain divisions, and I won't spoil too much more, but there will be unique skins that you can only get through this mode. Definitely some really cool, unique other cosmetics too. But it'll generally be a much more rewarding experience, far more competitive, and just overall a big improvement, I think. So
cool. There was a good question in here that I saw. Someone was asking if we've ever considered something like a captain's mode, or like what
captain's mode.
Yeah, have you ever played Dota?
Like a pirate captain?
Well, sort of like a draft mode. I guess, like, as far as like different upcoming kind of things go. Have we ever considered that, or is like what's on the table?
We have, so with a shooter, generally shooters have many modes of play. We have a lot of options. Some in dev, some in concept. I can't give any specific details, but there are even special holiday modes we're planning. So good things to come on modes. But right now we did just release Onslaught,
and that's we have that rotating.
Exactly. So we are working on many modes. We love switching things up, and creating and designing new fun things for you guys.
Cool. Let's see. So we have someone asking about Skye. I mean, she's been a popular champion, and
good old Skye.
How does she figure into sort of what we're doing here? In my opinion, I feel like by addressing some of these legendaries we're looking at, it'll indirectly help a lot of these other champions who maybe didn't have that hyper mobility.
That's fair to say. Meta implications are you can get into a bad spot if you try to forcibly predict a meta and then design around it. That's a lesson we've learned many times. Skye specifically, yes, she is a champion with not as much mobility as some of our other flanks or even damage characters. And I touched on this earlier, kind of on the disparity between perception versus reality. It's always a lot of people. Again, we read all of your guys' feedback, and it's like some people are ranging as far as like, oh, rework this character. So there's nerf this character, or you need to make it way stronger. It is definitely, she is slightly more polarizing than some of our other roster. Statistically, I can tell you that a lot of people like playing Skye, which makes us, we have to be very careful with how we want to change characters such as that. Widely played.
One of those champions that comes to your mind. You're thinking of paladins, and like there's just certain characters that pop into your head. For me, it's like Androxus.
She's one of the OG. Skye. Yeah, yep. Those are all classics. So I won't say that we're going to rework the character. I will say that the avenue of legendaries gives us opportunities to do some creative things, some empowering things, and then also I would encourage you as a player base to kind of watch as the meta evolves, watch as we kind of tone down the movement speed things, and see how certain characters that maybe weren't in the spotlight before manifest and probably take it for themselves.
It's kind of like we were talking earlier about economy being a puzzle, and I think game balance, the overall game design itself is a puzzle as well, where you have changes that, might be more of like a broad change, or even a change to one character has implications on the game as a whole, or vice versa.
Oh, I can absolutely tell you it does. Can I give a specific example? So, for instance, certain characters fluctuate as far as efficacy, accessibility, how often they win, completely regardless of whether or not we actually change anything on these characters. Sure. This happens a lot with flanks. This happens a lot with damage characters. It's actually a very interesting relationship between the roles in our games and how the strength of one can maybe diminish the impact of another. So, for example, can I give a specific example? That's a real question. I think one for actually also pertinent to recent changes. OB53, Grover saw some minor buffs around projectile speed, and he also saw some minor buffs, I believe, on damage on his alt fire.
Sure.
I think it was like 50 damage.
Yep. He picked up some damage on the cripple.
Grover, historically, while, again, in perception versus reality, is seen in some in competitive play. Shout outs to Australia teams. The perception by many people, or many vocal people, is that a character is not first picked, first ban in competitive. This character clearly needs a buff.
Sure.
Whereas reality is, this is more of a product of a meta.
Sure.
And this character, in less strict senses, in populations where you're not playing, where you're not the best in the world, Grover specifically actually performs. Before any of these changes, before OB53, he was a bit of kind of this unique special tree that there was no real outcry for kind of, this character needs to be toned down, but he was winning far more than many other or equivalent characters, or characters that are even much more highly valued in the competitive scene. So it's a very nuanced kind of relationship that we have a class-based game in a shooter, with a meta, with item systems, and how varying skill levels of players, varying populations of players, they all kind of manifest and combine to different results. And it's like, now Grover is ridiculously OP. And it's like, because of projectile speed changes, when in reality, he was actually winning vaguely the same amount before. It's just maybe more attention is being drawn to him now that he's actually received a buff. So it is a very complex system. It is a very cool, nuanced system.
Sure. We got some people coming in late, I guess, and I think some people missed some of the overall things that we've gone over. I just want to kind of pop back, and for anyone who's just coming in now and maybe heard the tail end of this discussion, and we'll go over this while I look for questions, so keep the questions coming.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, do you want to just kind of give a quick rehash of the economy changes for anyone who might not have caught the whole thing?
Sure.
And of course, this will all be, in patch notes. It'll be on the patch show. Like
exactly.
You'll be hearing a lot more about this, as we go on. Today is more so just, us hanging out with you guys, talking about, the reasons behind these changes, reasons behind some of the things that, we've done in the past here, and talking about, where we're going and the overall vision that our design team has.
Yep. So yeah, you pull some questions, and I'll just hit the bullet points that we touched on. So first off, the first bullet point was that in OB53, changes were made to many characters' shooting experiences, and it was miscommunicated that this was done for certain platforms, when in actuality, this is a high-level design decision to make shooting experience just better across the board. Regardless, if you're a frontline, if you're a support, we want to make it so that, or make sure that shooting your in-hand feels good, feels empowering, is this discrete moment where it feels cool to play the character you're playing. We are, at our core, we are a shooter, and then these changes, most of them leaned on projectile speed, some of them explosion size, or kind of others were recoil feels. It was, again, a platform agnostic design change to just better polish our title. The other points that we've touched on are economy. there has been a lot of talk and a lot of work done on our part to kind of delve into our economy in live, and we have kind of settled on the following changes. What we're going to be doing is creating a much more, I guess, Essence affluent system for our players. It'll be easier to progress through your cards. You will be getting a lot of Essence from ways that you weren't getting it from before. Specifically, I believe I'm just bringing up my list so I don't mess it up.
Yeah, just hit all the bullet points for everyone to hear.
Yeah, my memory ain't what it used to be, guys. All right, so
we got a lot going on, man.
So Essence cost reduction. Legendaries are going from 12,000 to 10. The epics are going from 5,000 to 4,000. Uncommons are 1,250 to 1,000, and then commons are 500 to 350. So some pretty big discounts there for just straight up purchasing costs. The daily login bonuses on days 4, 5, and 6 are now being replaced with Essence at 250, 500, and 1,000 Essence value. So 1,750 Essence in total that you just get for logging in. Weekly quests are also taking essentially a buff to the rewards you're getting from them. They currently all give gold. What we're going to do is we're going to swap 3 of them to give Essence as well at 1,000 Essence apiece. And then the ones that do give gold currently, we're actually going to increase from 750 to 1,250 gold. Sure. So increasing the rewards, giving you more Essence there from the quests.
But there's there's a give and take, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And then the take in this sense, from your guys' perspective, is that we will be increasing the gold cost of champions and cosmetics. Champions will go up from 7.5, or your 7.5k gold champions will go to 12.5k. Your 5k champions will go to 7.5k, and your 4k champions will go to 5k. Mm-hmm. So roughly the cost of 1 or 2 radiant chest difference, which honestly is, I think, kind of mitigated by the fact that we are flushing. I guess we're getting a lot more radiant chests in the system, a lot more Essence. You're going to be unlocking these quests far more further, so you can maybe save more of your gold for these champs versus kind of using it for the cards.
Mm-hmm. Now, day 7. That's one thing people here are asking in chat. The crystals are going down a little bit on day 7. That's correct for the daily logins, right?
On day no.
Is it day?
The day 6 is going from 15 crystals to 1,000 Essence.
Okay.
So yes, that is a loss of 15 crystals.
That's what it is. Okay.
1,000 Essence is a pretty substantial amount that we're pretty comfortable with giving you in place of that. Mm-hmm. The day 7 rewards are remaining the same.
Okay. All right. Yeah. But on the cosmetics, the commons, which ones are we dropping the crystal price on?
So all common and uncommon cosmetics are seeing an increase in gold cost and a decrease in crystal cost. So off the top of my head, so your uncommon sets are currently 100 crystals. They'll be going down to 75.
Sure.
Uncommon weapons will be taking a 25 crystal discount as well. And then commons are going from 75 to 50 crystals, and then 50 crystals. I think the weapons were 50 crystals. Those are going to 25 crystals. So again, we're making a larger disparity. The gold cost is increasing. The crystal price is decreasing substantially.
So we're trimming it there, and like this whole thing is just give and take. But the overall objective has been to ensure that for these new players who they unlock that champion, they're able to get those loadouts.
That's correct.
Really focus on that new player experience.
Yeah, get your cards, craft your builds, get your legendaries, guys. Experience the game with kind of all the tools at your disposal.
So speaking of newer players, someone had a question in chat here, and they were asking about if we have any plans to shake up as far as like which champions are available. I mean, right now it's
nice.
I think that's one we can talk about.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah. Yes, we do. Right now, currently our current free champion roster has been pretty static since the onset of our game, and what we're looking to do is kind of switch it up. We want to rotate more champions in and create a champion rotation. Absolutely. So yeah, we can totally spoil that. That's coming. If it's in, I believe we're gonna shoot for 55, maybe 56. Don't quote me. Sorry, production or / programming. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But yes, we're totally going to do that. We want you guys to be able to experience more characters for free, kind of try them out. So yeah, absolutely. That's something that's coming.
And I think that's cool. I mean, you could really get to. It's one thing to go in the shooting range and all that. It's another thing to just get them out in the wild and just really get a good feel for that
Agreed.
champion. So all right, let's see what we got here. This is an interesting one, and someone's asking, kind of where we stand on the in-game build items, and you and I, like your wrecker, your cauterizer, all these things.
Yep.
Yeah,
we just talked about this.
Yeah, and so do you want to kind of relay to our chat here?
Yeah. So, and I've discussed this actually on patch notes before too. It's that currently certain items are extremely powerful, and it is extremely meta. It is a part of the meta. Certain item choices are extremely meta. Certain item choices are not. For every person that does or doesn't buy Wrecker or Cauterize, how many people are buying Illuminate or whatever. So yeah, I would say as a player base, there's definitely a fair assessment that certain cards currently have higher value than others.
Sure, especially as you get up into the competitive scene where the people are min-maxing. They're very specific champions people are playing that need to be countered. And
100%. Yep. Yeah. Currently, definitely Wrecker and Cauterize, even more so Cauterize, is probably a little bit more required in current game state. And that's absolutely something we are keeping our eye on, and we'll probably look at doing just as we go through and we build out a new rank system, where we go through and we do a pass like we just talked about on broadly touching all legendaries. We will eventually kind of look at our item store, look at our item choices, and kind of reshuffle some things there and put things in a better order, a more logical, sensical fashion. I don't have a date on that for you guys, but absolutely, some of the disparities you guys see there, we see them too.
Absolutely. A lot of people have been, wondering as far as like what our plans are in respect to PC and console, and we kind of talked a little bit about this in the beginning about clarifying our other messaging, but going forward, just to be clear.
Right. All of our goals and our changes are platform agnostic. We want to make the best game possible, and we believe we can do that as we have been doing. It's touching these characters in such ways that it just overall gives a better experience, and we feel that better experience will just carry over.
There's no need to make sacrifices.
Correct.
We our designers, our team here, we have a lot of people working on this, collecting a lot of information, a lot of feedback, and they have this vision that they want to execute that is independent of the platform.
100%. Yep.
So let me see what else we got. Any last minute questions in here? Is there anything?
I want to apologize for all the people we're not answering questions for. Twitch chat is going
yeah,
off.
it's flying. You guys flying through here. Woo! Right. Let's see here. I see a lot of people asking about lore, and that is something that for me is really, really important. I love the lore aspects of it,
Sure.
and I'm going to be honest with you, even I don't know a lot of the lore right now. We've got a team that's been just
wait. I got to do that. I got to do it. We got some cool stuff coming. I'm not going to spoil any of this for you guys. Just as generally with kind of these story centric things, the avenue at which you first encounter it is part of the magic.
Sure.
So I'm not gonna tread on that at all. I want you guys to experience when we do kind of come forth with this content, with this info.
But it's not long. There's going to be a trickle.
Oh, absolutely. We got a lot of stories to tell in our world. Absolutely. And it would probably be doing it an injustice to try and just do it all at once. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. Pixie Kitty's asking, who's your favorite person and why is it her?
Oh my goodness. Well, she answered it for me right there.
It's an easy one. Let's see. All right, so hackers and stuff. This is something I hear a lot about. Alyssa's been very active about recently, and a lot of people, inevitably, people are asking about it. People, we'll see a hacker out in the wild. Free-to-play game, you get a lot of people coming through, and but I think we have a really good system in place right now.
We do. We could probably be. It's just again probably semi-communication. We regularly ban like thousands of people on a monthly basis.
We actually
always
released statistics for it a little
we
while.
did do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. A little while back, we
Yep.
we dropped a graph and showed just this waves of thousands of people just gone.
Yes, it is
from
absolutely something that is high on my personal priority list. I hate to see that stuff, and I almost swore there.
Dial it down.
Yeah, yeah.
Simmer down now.
Sorry about that, guys. But yes, no, it is very extremely important to us. Design team, actually, we get propositioned with like screen grabs or clips all the time. And it's something we like to see to the end and fixed. We're always looking to kind of.
Interesting fact about that. I don't know about you. I mean, you're up here, head honcho guy. You
wouldn't
got
say that.
powers I don't have. But like for me,
You're very powerful, Matt.
when I get these reports, I actually run them through the same channel people normally would, because
Yep.
I mean, like you guys, you might not see it as much as we do. I mean, because like I said, we're not, super open about that. And part of it is that the war on hackers is something that, you don't want to show your hand too often. It's true,
Sure.
It's
It's a very dramatic way of saying it, but yeah. Yeah.
And so I send it through the same channels, and those people, I mean, they get to it. I mean, there's multiple systems. There's ones that are easy anti-cheat, which prevents it in the first place and removes it when they see it. And then there's other layers where there's people who report it, and we have a team that manually.
We have proprietary
yes.
also functions there that contradict and catch these guys, and also we have a very dedicated staff that goes through and pursues it. It is also on any online game.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a designer talk moment. In any online game, it is very easy to project upon. And I'm not calling out the individual like you in chat, like. You said that guy was hacking, but he really wasn't because you were mad. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in a large online game with lots of players, then projection or essentially making excuses for issues is a big thing.
Inevitably, there's going to be false reports.
Exactly.
And our team deals with that.
And we take every report very seriously. So that is, if you see someone and you report them, you're like, oh, it's been a week and this guy's still here. Hires, what are you doing? We approach almost like we would approach all of these concerns with the same level of gravity and the same level of concern, and we're just doing due diligence, and that does take time.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to make the wrong call, and that's something that, we work very, very hard, and we have multiple systems in place, and we're always improving them. Something
Correct.
happens, and, a while back we had an issue, and then there was like, it was just the proof wasn't there, and we adapted, we changed our systems to compensate.
We changed, we're improving by far. So stick with it, guys. Keep reporting those players.
Absolutely.
We'll help you out.
Yep. Let me see here. Do we get to play with friends in comp instead of randoms? That's an interesting one, and we don't really talk about that often. Do you want to talk about the design decisions kind of behind that? Because I know
I can actually spoil if I can remember the exact design. Okay, so yes, we are going to allow an avenue for group queuing in competitive. There will be some stipulations around. I won't say specifically, but once you probably attain a certain division, then your group queuing options will be limited. We still want you to be able to play with your friends, but we also knowing that like rolling in with 5 grandmasters and a 5 stack, that match is almost unmatchmakeable to compete against, and it's not really fun.
That's something just better to take to scrims. If
Sure,
you have 5
sure.
grandmasters.
Without getting too much into it, yes, we are going to allow you to play with your friends in comp.
Cool. Let me see here. Themed events planned. I mean,
Yes.
you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
We can't
Straight up, yes.
Just answer is
Maybe something
yes.
spooky. Who knows?
Let's see. Here's an interesting one. People here are asking about, kind of where we see supports currently as fitting into the overall picture.
Okay. Absolutely. I mean, supports are by far a strong point of their team. Well played supports can make or break. Poorly played supports can usually break. That is the power that you guys hold in your hands as you're like, does that person deserve my healing potion? Or should I really explosive flask this guy right over? No.
You're a flank pit player, aren't you?
No, not really. I prefer those those healing flasks from downtown.
All right,
Nothing
So you got
makes
the,
me like more happy than like getting that Dragos that just got poked out, and he's like, "Oh God, at 10% health," and be like, "I got you."
Ever since
Catching
I
'em.
discovered the manual detonate, man, that changed Pip for me. The fact that you can detonate it on your own. A lot of people don't know that, you know. That's
you heard it here
the,
first, guys. You can detonate that healing potion. Go
you
read
do
the
that
description.
Quite Maldamba, there's a couple that you read up, you see some cool stuff.
But yeah, no, but to the first part of the question, yeah, absolutely. Supports are definitely strong in the meta currently right now. Very, very influential by all means. And then we kind of touched on it earlier with the shooting experience changes.
Sure.
Is that some of them we felt that some of their weapons were slightly lackluster, and originally you could argue this was actually partially designed intended to balance out the fact that sure, maybe my weapon isn't effective because the rest of part of my kit makes up for it in X, Y, and Z ways. However, going forward, we want to make all shooting experiences good, like I said. So,
and of course, the overall game balance and champion balance will be adjusted to compensate where needed.
100%.
And you're not going to have someone who has just like amazing shooting and amazing healing. It's give and take.
And tank level health.
And tank level health.
Why pick any other character?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the next champion, right? One that can heal, tank, and deal damage and flank.
No.
Okay.
Actually, next character, segue into patch notes tomorrow. Spoiler alert, yeah.
And what time is that again?
4 p.m.
p.m.
Something.
EDT.
EDT.
Yeah. We got this.
Thanks, man.
We got this. And I think you're going to have the lovely Alyssa on there that time, all right? You have Alyssa.
We'll probably have all the lovely
and
people. Yep.
Thomas, and the
big
gang will
crew.
be all there.
It'll be full broadcast, big desk, flashy graphics, all the fun stuff.
All right. Let me just a little peek in here. And those of you who want a peek of the new champion, tune in tomorrow.
Tune in tomorrow, guys.
Tune in tomorrow. This one's cool. This one's, that's all I'm saying. Let's see. What else we got? Any plans for Nintendo Switch? We get a lot of these, like, plans for Linux or Switch or, any of these other platforms. And I always, I take all that feedback and I bring it to our team and everything. And they same things, keep bringing me the feedback. Let's gauge the interest. But for right now, we're focusing on our platforms that we have.
Current platforms, yeah.
Yep.
But that would give me a reason to buy a Switch.
Right? Let's see.
I think I'm actually not seeing... What's our time at? I think
we're just about there. We're just about on that time to wrap here, and a lot of these are more specific questions that I think that balance wise you'll see more discussion tomorrow.
Okay.
Those of you who have like specific champions, and you'll see more of that tomorrow. So
or just hit me or Matt up on Twitter. You can find me at HighResMartini, I think is my Twitter handle, and you're at HighResJuju.
Actually, I'm at SuperBadJuju. Yeah,
SuperBadJuju.
I was doing the streaming thing, and then I just
special unique snowflake over here with the
slap the high res on.
Tune in for patch notes tomorrow, guys. Got some really awesome stuff to show you. And again, we'll probably reiterate some of the stuff we discussed here today. But thank you for showing up. Thank you for spending time with us. Hopefully, we've been able to kind of iterate some of or describe some of the design process behind our iterations, and kind of cleared up some of the thoughts and where we're coming from, basically.
Yeah. And thanks for having me on, man. It's been good to just
anytime,
sit down here and BS a little bit.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, oh man, what is Evan's rain days?
I know he's
something
got all kinds of nice.
Never stop gaming. All right.
Blah blah blah.
Yep. Cool.